When was the first time you felt that, okay, I had a burnout?
I was working daily, I think for 10-12 hours. I was just not able to function properly. I seemed irritated, frustrated. My output decreased, clarity, thinking facility, it got little blurred. Difficulty in sleeping. Sometimes in the sleep I get my designs, pixels, etc. Anxiety is there, right? So we had a funding of 3 million from Sequoia, which is a known investor, and also Balaji Srinivasan and Kunal Shah. Based on, Paras Chopra was a known name.
Just briefly talk about how did you get into design and what was your progression from when you started design till where you are right now.
Yeah, it's a very interesting story, and thanks for asking. I studied mechanical engineering, then I worked for 6 months in a manufacturing company. I didn't like it, left the job, and then started Exco. Exco was initially a website made on WordPress, where people can exchange, barter books, So I learned there about, observation, research, and think about business, revenue. 2019 when we sold Exco, the food business, to someone else. Then I realized maybe we should explore this UI UX field. So I went independent, I think now 10 months back.
Okay.
Before that I was working at a company called Nintee. Nintee was an early stage startup started by Paras Chopra. Paras Chopra is a veteran entrepreneur. He has founded a SaaS company called Wingify, which is having a revenue of I think 40 million ARR, that is annual revenue. So I joined him I think as a third employee, but I joined there as a design and product lead. I worked there I think for around 1 year approximately.
Okay.
Yeah, and in that 1 year we built I think 7 products.
Okay.
We at that time we shipped so fast.
Okay.
Like daily iteration, and we used to launch apps internally within 2-3 weeks.
Nice.
Like really fast working. At Nintee I really stretched the limitations of my work capabilities, right, and everything. Yeah.
You worked at Nagarro for 2.5 years, and post that you joined Nintee. Now Nagarro being a design consultancy, 10,000 employees and 1,000 designers working there across. And then you arrive at this new company called Nintee where they don't have a product. They are probably pre-PMF. I want you to help the audience visualize the difference between a company at a scale of Nagarro and then a company at the scale of Nintee.
I mean, it's a difference of sky and earth, day and night.
Okay.
In company sure. So the things move so slow in a big company. There are so many processes, hierarchy, and I mean, Nagarro is great. People are great. I love the people. I still am in touch with them. I got good clients there. I work with IndusInd Bank. We did a redesign, but that took around 1 year.
Okay.
And sometimes I was just working for for a month just on a button. The contrast in Nintee was that within 2 days we used to have end-to-end design for a feature.
Okay.
And third day I directly talked to engineer, get things done, and then fourth day I talk with the founder directly, no hierarchy, get the design review, and fifth day the developer make the app released in the test flight for testing. But at the same time, work-life balance honestly is not that good in the early stage. If you're working early in the career, I would say don't prioritize work-life balance too much. It's fine to work a little extra if you have other benefits.
You had a product to deliver, and on day 5 it was live, right? So the process is really fast, right? Now when you move so fast, obviously the quality of work gets affected. How did you deal with delivering the quality of work that probably you are not happy with?
Yeah, that's a good question, So at Nintee, we had this motto which we took from Stripe. Stripe is a big company, but it still operates like early stage startup. The motto was that optimize for both, speed and depth. Like you move fast, but you also go deep. So what we used to do at Nintee was that idea was that we want to get something in the hand of users fast, and I do have to work extra from my side to make sure the quality was good, but we err on the side of shipping fast. Sometimes these designers I think, let's say for example, if you talk about an early stage startup for a landing page, they spend 2 months on landing page, adding all gradients, animation, and they haven't got any validation. So that's not a good idea. I mean, so quality is decent is fine initially. If you are decent, good enough app, which has at least basic visual design, spacing, typography, and less bugs, it's fine. So we used to optimize for speed. That was the first priority. And quality was, we are not saying we will just ship crap. We will ship decent stuff. Because first you want to get idea on the product, is it helpful to the user? Will it something that people pay for it? People will paying for it. That's a bigger signal. If we release the app to, let's say, 10 people, and we say there's a good retention, then okay, we get signals. Then we will of course improve the quality. Okay. But it's not saying that it's not ideal that you wait for 4 years to launch the product, and just because if you not get to the hand of user, you will never know.
You build like 7 products in a span of 1 year. Were these like each product different from each other because you were testing, or these were part of the company that Nintee would build, let's say 7 products which would be then an ecosystem product? Like
initial products 3-4 were a bit similar. The later one were a little different. Nintee was a healthcare company, and we noticed that a lot of people die from obesity, bad eating habit, lifestyle. So we wanted to build tools that people can use that can make them healthy. So initially we released tools such as calorie trackers, step trackers, and then habit builders, which were in the domain of healthcare. So we had a funding of 3 million from Sequoia, which is a known investor, and also Balaji Srinivasan and Kunal Shah. Based on Paras Chopra was a known name. We had a product market fit in the first product, which is calorie tracker, and I work on the calorie tracking app. We got good traction. People were loving it. We had high retention, high daily active users, etc. But what happened was that it was heavy in operations, and Paras Chopra wanted to build something which was not operationally heavy. So something on which is heavily tech oriented. But Paras Chopra ended that thing, and we were a little disappointed. I still think that would have really worked well, especially with now we have powerful large language model. So, and then we built another product, habit tracking, that was also getting good traction, but Paras moved to something else. So I was a little disappointed that we are not having one direction, and we were really moving aimlessly. Sometimes it felt, and because working in early stage really exhausts you. And I thought that I had enough learning in 1 year, really a lot of learning. I'm really grateful, and also saved some money, and thought maybe I should take a break, work on my own projects, I had some ideas.
I even went to the website, and they are no longer in operation right now. So I think they ran it for an year, and they returned whatever money they had to their investors back. A classic story of not every startup becomes big, Like this is a known fact that if you work for a startup, as you said, there is very little work-life balance. What was the time when when was the first time you felt that, okay, I had a burnout?
I was working daily, I think for 10-12 hours. Not only me, many people were working 10 hours, and I was just not able to function properly. I seemed irritated, frustrated, and my output decreased. My clarity, thinking facility, it got little blurred. Plus also difficulty in sleeping. Sometimes in the sleep I get Figma designs, pixels, etc. Anxiety is there, right? Yeah. I told the founder that I'm feeling stressful and all. Then he also assessed that it's burned out. Then I also took a break for I think 1 week, and then after that I did try to manage that it should not get so worse that I have to take such long break.
What roles and responsibilities were ambiguous to you?
So we had this phrase in Nintee, this meme called ambiguity is a friend. Because we didn't have PMF, and we were building a lot of things, right? And at Nintee, I took the both product and design part. By product, I don't mean the project management. That's something people misunderstand that thing. I mean, that is thinking about, before even design, what to build, what not to build. Why should we build this now? Working on the discovery phase, writing down the assumptions, hypotheses, like we used to every week, I was also in Bangalore there for some time. We used to meet me, Paras and Yash and one more person at the co-working space. We go to Blackboard and brainstorm for 3-4 hours. Sometime at Nintee, I just used to look at the screen, just best pen, paper, notes, for hours and hours, thinking part, So that I did that, and then also at the engineering, I have to figure a lot of things at that time.
Okay. How was your relationship with the founder of Nintee?
Yeah, so Paras Chopra, the founder of Nintee, he's a great person, very humble, and he also likes to like to get in the ground reality. Like we had in a Slack channel, we used to add what we are doing daily. So he, even as a founder, used to come in Slack and also post what he's doing daily. Okay. He was also being accountable. So I love that part. I really appreciate things about him. And we used to have a weekly one-to-one sync. We had a trust upon each other, and as we working together, we understand how both of us operate, and we started to respect things, and we also get boundaries that that I have certain decision that I should own this thing.
Has it ever happened where where you were presenting something and suddenly slowly the conversation becomes so unreasonable to a point where you are like this is not even what we were discussing, right? And how do you work out that conversation?
Yeah, I'll be honest, it happens. So then the founder often say, yeah, that's true, you are right, but it is my hypothesis, I want to test my gut feeling. Yeah, so it happens, and I would say, okay, it's fine, we can try. So it happens. Yeah, at Nintee it was little bit more frequently, I think. Initially, later we understood, okay, we should be guided by data, and we should let other people, expert, make the decisions.
How would you advise someone who's in a startup as their first job navigate this roadblock? You barely know how to design, right? Yeah. Communication as a skill is a different skill set.
Before even joining the job, I think you should work on the soft skill. I think it's a very important part, soft skill. So it's not something you work after job, I think, which can be learned by reading books, listening to podcasts, because often with also engineers, you need to convince them that, build this, even if they say it's not possible, etc. Kitna hota hai sab kuch, hai na?
A lot of
why. So it's something that you have to build before even think about communication skill before even joining a startup. I am also right now using heavily AI in my workflow. If I would join an early stage as a first job, I would just give all the context about company, people to, let's say, I don't prefer ChatGPT, I use Cloud AI, it's a competitor. Latest one, I would pay for it also. And then just discuss and brainstorm that this is happening with founder and conflicts are happening. How should I communicate? So do some brainstorming with that.
With your experiences, working as a freelancer, starting your own ventures, right? Making a profitable exit in one of them, joining a company as a founding designer, and now working with a early stage company as a freelancer. Based on all the experiences that you have, let's say tomorrow someone approaches you, what are some 5-6 things or 10 things you would think of to evaluate whether you would want to join as a first design employer?
I would ask a question about how do you build products? How often they talk about a user need, pain point, or are they just talking from their own personal perspective? Or just about business, and do founders sometimes work as a support staff to listen to people? Do they value the feedback they get from user, and how fast they put things in the hand of user to test? And then third thing is that how big is the team? I would prefer, let's say if a founder is hiring a product manager before even finding the PMF, it's a bad signal. I think also one point is that do they value ownership, or will you let me execute a product end to end, do my experimentation, test my hypothesis, assumptions, will you give me some time for the research? I would definitely ask them that I need some time to talk to user every week, these things.
So design centric, team, ownership, and then autonomy to make decisions. Like these are the 4 things. So that's it. That's the conversation. Thank you for coming, man.